Great to have your company as always. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Taste Australia.
Tonight, the royal family reunited by grief. A rare appearance, intimate details of Prince Philip's final moments. Prince Harry set to join them after sneaking into London and into isolation. Police opened fire in the car park of a North Shore shopping centre. Running a red light, pedestrians mowed down. A man is dead, another fighting for life. Australia's cyclone zone, 170 km/h winds destroy homes. The holiday town that never stood a chance. One of politics' most polarising figures, Fred Nile, calls it a day, announcing he's quitting Parliament at the age of 86. A Belmore service station held up twice in 4 days. The armed attacks almost identical. Rampant cheating exposed in our universities. The student misconduct going unpunished. And the 110-year dream to link Sydney's harbour foreshore now complete.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. As the royal family prepares for Prince Philip's funeral, Harry has arrived in London unseen even by the paparazzi. The Duke of Edinburgh's children have now given an extraordinary insight into the pain and shock they're feeling. His passing described as so gentle, and they say the Queen is now facing a huge void in her life.
The Duke of Edinburgh's two youngest sons, Andrew and Edward, 2 days after the death of their father.
It's been a bit of a shock. However much one tries to prepare oneself for something like this, it's still a dreadful shock, and we're still trying to come to terms with that.
It's a great loss. I think the way I would put it is that we've lost almost the grandfather of the nation. And I feel very sorry and supportive of my mother, who's feeling it, I think, probably more than everybody else.
The royals were attending a Sunday service at a private chapel. The Countess of Wessex told one parishioner of Philip's final moments.
It was so gentle. It's just like somebody took you by the hand. Very, very peaceful. And that's all you want, somebody to do.
From Andrew.
The Queen, as you would expect, is an incredibly stoic person, and she described his passing as a miracle, and she's contemplating, I think is the way that I would put it. She described it as having left a huge void in her life, but we, the family, the ones that are closer, are rallying round to make sure that we're there to support her.
Her Majesty has now been visited by each of her 4 children, including Princess Anne. The Princess Royal releasing a statement with this photo. "You know it's going to happen, but you are never really ready," she said. "My father has been my teacher, my supporter and my critic, but mostly it is his example of a life well lived and service freely given that I most wanted to emulate." And following the Duke of York's decision to step away from royal duties shrouded in controversy.
If you had a problem, he would think about it. And that's the great thing that I always think about, is that he was always somebody you could go to and he would always listen.
Andrew described a phone call he had with Philip a few months ago. His father saying, "We're all in the same boat and sometimes the royals need to stand up and show leadership." It was in relation to COVID. More than 120,000 British families have experienced the grief of losing someone to coronavirus.
With my father's death, it has brought at home to me not just our loss, but actually the loss that everybody else has felt for so many people who've, as it were, died and lost loved ones during the pandemic.
This family bound together with a nation that knows heartbreak too well.
And let's go to Hugh Whitfield in Windsor now. Hugh, Her Majesty spent her first Sunday in 7 decades without her husband.
Mark, the Queen attended a private service at Windsor Castle. With faith so central to her life and duty, it would have been a difficult yet likely comforting moment for the monarch. In that stoic demeanour Andrew spoke about, Her Majesty is also reported to have taken 2 of her corgis, Muick and Fergus, out for a walk in the grounds of Frogmore House. Philip's body remains here at Windsor Castle, his beloved wife of 73 years, never far away. Mark.
Hugh Whitfield in Windsor, thank you. Prince Harry slipped into London unnoticed, the first time he's been home since leaving the UK. Sarah Greenhalgh is in London for us. Sarah, Harry is now in self-isolation.
He is, Mark. Good evening. The papers here are reporting that Prince Harry arrived on a commercial flight from LA into London yesterday afternoon. He was reportedly met on the tarmac by police and security guards and whisked away in a black Range Rover, but we are yet to see a single photo. It's believed he could be staying at Nottingham Cottage inside the grounds of Kensington Palace, and as you say, this is the first time he will be reunited face to face after a very public fracture. He will have to do it alone with Meghan still in the United States. Friends hope the death of Prince Philip, William and Harry's beloved grandfather, will be the catalyst for these brothers to mend their rift.
More than a year since they were last together in person, a month since Harry told the world William is trapped, now a chance to heal.
The friction that we are told has arisen is a friction better ended as speedily as possible.
Speaking to the BBC, former Prime Minister Sir John Major, who was appointed as a special guardian for the brothers after Diana's death, the only British politician invited to the Sussexes' wedding.
A shared emotion, a shared grief at the present time because of the death of their grandfather, I think is an ideal opportunity. I hope very much that it is possible to mend any rifts that may exist.
Prince Philip, who endured his own difficult childhood, nurtured his grandson Harry to follow in his footsteps. Both served in the armed forces. The Duke was in hospital when those damaging accusations against the family were made in last month's interview.
Philip's funeral on Saturday will be held at the same chapel where the world watched Harry and Meghan wed in 2018. This time, all eyes will be on a different relationship as Harry and William stand side by side.
Hopefully they can make some amends. At least Harry and William might be able to sort of, get back together again.
Yes, I'm so pleased Harry's coming back. To me, I think Meghan should come with him, support him, try and show some unity.
But doctors told the Duchess not to travel, pregnant with the couple's second child, a little girl who'll never get to meet her great-grandfather. In London, Sarah Greenhalgh, 7 News.
To breaking news now, and police have opened fire during a dramatic arrest in Neutral Bay. Ashley Hansen is on the scene. Ash, what more can you tell us?
Yes, Mark, police have opened a fire in the Woolworths car park here at Neutral Bay just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. 7 News understands the officers were targeting 2 men who were seen to be involved in some kind of criminal activity. They've gone in to arrest the pair, but the men have jumped in their car and driven at police. We're told an officer fired one shot which hit the windscreen, and the men were arrested and nobody was hurt. Witnesses say they heard the gunfire.
There were 2 really loud shots that went off. I didn't even realise that they were gunshots until the police pulled up. Nothing ever like that has ever happened the whole time I've lived here.
Given this was a police shooting, it could be the focus of a critical investigation where it will be examined if the use of the officer's firearm was justified. But thankfully, nobody was hurt here today. It is a busy time of the afternoon here for shoppers at the Neutral Bay at Woolworths. Mark?
OK, Ashley Hansen at Neutral Bay. Thank you. A pedestrian has been hit and killed and another is fighting for life in hospital after 2 shocking accidents in less than 12 hours. Both men were crossing at traffic lights when the cars ploughed into them. At least one of the drivers ran a red light and has just been charged.
For 16 seconds, a set of lights on the Hume Highway at Yagoona is red. But this pedestrian has a fraction of a second to react before he's hit and propelled through the air. Lying unconscious, witnesses rush to his aid, among them bakery owner Sandy Tram, who sees the man walking past her shop every morning.
The man not move anything. Every early morning, he rocks the road to go to the train station, go to work.
The 57-year-old victim had surgery today for a critical head injury.
The Hume Highway has some significant speed, and this pedestrian struck and had a significant head injury as a result.
The 56-year-old driver has been charged with dangerous driving, occasioning actual bodily harm.
This was in a well-lit area. You should have seen this pedestrian.
Not long before emergency services were called here to Yagoona, a motorcyclist was hit and killed by a truck in Palm Beach. And at Petersham last night, another pedestrian was hit by a car. He died at the scene. The 54-year-old was also crossing at an intersection, but it's not yet known if the elderly driver ran a red light. Either way, the message for drivers and pedestrians is clear.
Always be aware. Don't be aware some of the time or most of the time. You need to be aware all of the time.
Tom Saker, 7 News.
The Prime Minister has now warned us not to expect any significant ramp-up in the vaccine rollout until later in the year. Just 12,000 shots were administered nationwide yesterday, as GPs and even the government itself admit patients are pulling out of appointments for the AstraZeneca jab.
He scrapped vaccination targets in a social media post.
One of the things about COVID is it writes its own rules,
which Scott Morrison today defended in another.
Rather than set targets that can get knocked about by every to and fro of international supply, we're just getting on with it.
The Premier says it needs to be done faster, with just 12,000 jabs done yesterday.
I know that some people don't think there is a sense of urgency because we're doing so well, but things can change very quickly and I don't want to see our citizens left behind. I do have a sense of urgency about it.
That's spreading.
There needs to be a sense of urgency about this.
Victoria's acting Premier extending its pause on under-50s getting the AstraZeneca jab for another 2 weeks. Some Sydney clinics also calling a halt.
It will probably vary from place to place, particularly this week, as people are still getting their heads around the changes.
We've got a chaotic rollout.
The federal opposition targeting the lack of target.
Scott Morrison had one job this year. It was to get the rollout of the vaccine right. And it's quite clear that it's just a debacle.
As the Greens renew their push for the government to set up a Pfizer vaccine factory here.
We can't just place the whole of this country's safety in the hands of a big drug company in another country and hope that global politics means that Australia gets the right doses.
Health authorities say there'll be enough Pfizer doses for every adult Australian by year's end, but just when they'll get them.
I'm not going to give a number or a date.
As new economic predictions have pushed herd immunity into next year, extending the consequences for international travel and the industries that rely on it, from tourism to education.
You wouldn't really expect travel to and from Australia to look like it used to look until perhaps 2024.
The exception, the bubble with New Zealand, now a week away, with some travel insurance updated to offer COVID cover, which would include if you're diagnosed with COVID before you go. An activity you've paid for is closed for COVID cleaning. You're a health worker whose leave is cancelled. You're denied boarding because of a positive test at the airport, and compulsory quarantine costs if infected while away.
So I would expect that the vast majority of people will actually look for this cover and take out this cover.
Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Terrified families have taken shelter as cyclonic winds ripped homes apart on Western Australia's mid-west coast. Cyclone Saroja hit near Kalbarri last night, packing powerful winds of up to 170 kilometres an hour. Locals said it was like a bomb going off.
Utter devastation following a terrifying night. This is what Kalbarri woke to. Destruction on a scale that's hard to fathom. Almost nothing escaped the fury of the storm.
Christ, if you reckon hell's bad, I tell you what, last night was better than the hell.
Cyclones this far south are rare. Buildings here aren't rated to withstand this. They didn't stand a chance.
I'm just broken, seriously broken. That's all I own is my caravan. It's gone too.
Saroja smashed the holiday town of Kalbarri, 570 kilometres north of Perth, as a Category 3 at 7 o'clock last night, packing 170 kilometre-an-hour winds.
To take a look on the floor, water is rushing in and really beginning to flood all of our electrical equipment. That window is really buckling right now, and it's our last line of defence.
Roofs were torn off and windows shattered, sending shards of glass flying.
We crammed 12 people under the stairs last night. We had to come out of this bedroom right here.
Further inland, the town of Northampton copped it as the cyclone continued its path of destruction. The Cross family sheltered under a mattress as their home was torn apart around them.
Like, we laid the kids down and we're on all fours over top of them.
Trying to shield the children.
Yeah.
Heartbroken and shaken, but relieved they survived.
It's late afternoon in Kalbarri now, and as the day rolls on, the devastation only becomes clearer. SES crews have begun the clean-up, but the only way you're cleaning up homes like this is with a bulldozer. It's not just the roof that's been ripped off, it's windows and walls that have just completely collapsed, and once treasured possessions now lie trashed inside. As far as Kalbarri, well, you can't get in and out without an SES escort. Power's been long out. There's a question mark over water. There's next to no communications, and worst of all, there's a lot of residents and trapped tourists that are going to spend the night without a roof. Mark?
Yeah, let's hope there's a lot of help heading their way. Ben, thank you. Seniors groups are warning more elderly Australians will die prematurely unless the aged care system is fixed now. They're calling for billions in funding in next month's budget to wipe away home care waiting lists and improve standards of care.
In describing the aged care system, pensioner groups aren't mincing their words.
A train wreck well on its way to really happening.
Coming together with aged care providers after the horrors of the Royal Commission to demand next month's budget be a turning point.
We need more staff, we need them to be better paid, we need them to be better trained.
Wary of the Royal Commission's one-year timetable to clear the 100,000 person waiting list for home care packages, suggesting the December 31 deadline be put back to the end of next year, but backing the Commission's call for significantly increased funding.
$10 per bed per day increase to cover the cost of daily living.
With about 220,000 aged care beds nationally, that's an extra $800 million every year. The government announced a $500 million emergency package immediately after the Royal Commission reported last month, promising more to come. And ministers say transforming aged care will be one of the centrepieces of the coming budget, with record commitments running into many billions of dollars. But for those applying for aged care support, it isn't all about money.
The system has to be more simple. It's very complex and it's hard for people to do it.
With no easy answers. Mark Riley, 7 News.
After a public career spanning 4 decades, the Reverend Fred Nile, moral crusader and State Parliament's longest-serving member, has announced he's quitting politics at the age of 86. Never far from controversy, even news of his replacement is causing upset.
He possesses a rare political quality, honesty, no matter how brutal.
Other men will pay the penalty in their own body. Perhaps age is that penalty.
You won't find in all of my speeches anything which says, I hate gays. Never.
So you're trying to save their souls, is that the
That's right.
rationale?
And I respect everybody, even if they have different lifestyle to me.
Continually hiding behind the tag of religious freedom, religious belief. But what it basically is a poof bashing exercise.
Male homosexuality was decriminalised in 1984. That was 3 years into Fred Nile's parliamentary career.
That defeat, was that difficult?
Yes, and I've had a few defeats, but I've had a lot of wonderful victories as well.
Those include Aboriginal land rights and drafting bills that ended tobacco advertising and indoor smoking.
I felt there should be some protection for people for their health's sake.
Reverend Nile has campaigned for a halt to Muslim immigration. He wanted hijabs banned, supported Israel Folau, never wavering from his Christian beliefs. As society has become more secular and progressive, Fred Nile's views are certainly more marginalised than they used to be. But for 40 years, he has almost always been on a winning upper house ticket. Australians have wanted him here to represent them. His nominated successor is Lyle Shelton, with a platform of gender politics, abortion, Christian values.
Children are being inducted into all sorts of radical gender fluid ideology.
He seeks to divide people probably even more than Fred Nile did.
The Reverend retires from Parliament in November. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Victoria Cross recipient Ben Roberts-Smith has hit back at allegations he buried USB drives containing incriminating photos of Australian soldiers in Afghanistan in a lunchbox in his backyard. In a statement, the Channel 7 executive said last night's 60 Minutes story was a means of intimidating him into not proceeding with a defamation claim against the Nine network. He said the allegations are not supported by evidence and he was not approached for comment before they went to air. Walkers, runners and cyclists will now be able to enjoy some of Sydney's most spectacular scenery along an 11-kilometre foreshore path. The latest stage of the Barangaroo Walk was open today. The route now uninterrupted from Woolloomooloo to Anzac Bridge.
At one of Sydney's most stunning spots.
A brisk April day for an extraordinary announcement.
This new 300-metre section of iconic harbourfront, months in the making and a crucial piece. One continuous walkway now weaves from Woolloomooloo past Circular Quay through Barangaroo and Cockle Bay all the way to Anzac Bridge, with plans for a 3-kilometre extension to the new Sydney fish markets.
A great example of how at every opportunity we want the public, the community to enjoy our public spaces.
The industrialisation of what's now Barangaroo began in the early 1800s. The foreshore dominated by cargo ships, wharves and warehouses. Shipping operations ended in the mid-2000s before the most radical redevelopment. The foreshore's original shape reverted as a commercial and residential precinct came to life.
The ambience is fantastic, Serenity's great. For all different generations, I mean not only the fit ones but young ones, older ones.
This transformation really has been a long time coming. Residents first started lobbying for this space, for this land to be returned to the public more than 100 years ago. In 1909, a public meeting was called to save the foreshores for the people, and now they finally have it. Tom Hartley, 7 News.
Time to check the weather now, Angie. It was cold this morning.
Mark, the coldest of the year so far. Sydney dipped to 9.6 degrees this morning. That was the city's first taste of single-digit minimum since last September. Did eventually warm up to a top of 20.5. Although wind chill has again been a factor. Right now it is 16 degrees, feels like 14, so temperatures definitely on the cooler side of normal right across the board. Canberra dropped to -3 overnight, freezing for Parkes and for Mudgee as well. Tops, though, climbed into the high teens or low 20s. Now, those icy temperatures came in the wake of a strong cold front which moved through southeastern Australia on Saturday night and into Sunday. The air mass left in its wake is cold and very, very dry. And it's not over yet. Much of Sydney will shiver once again tonight. All those details coming up soon, Mark.
We have been warned, Angie. Thank you. Stuck on a ledge 18 floors up. After the break, firefighters battle their way to make a very special rescue. The service station held up twice in just a few days, a return visit or copycat attack. Covered in ash, a volcano erupting for days, now fears of a humanitarian disaster. The university where student cheating and misconduct is rampant, that special report later. And the judge's frustration, fresh delays to the Jack de Belin rape trial.
7 News brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
The police can't help themselves. My super doesn't work out for me. I'll be working forever.
Well, we've worked all our lives for this place. We'd hate to have to sell it to fund our retirement.
That's for sure.
Authorised by B. Dean for Industry Super Australia, Melbourne.
I'm gonna act dumb and play smart.
Big brother, I'll try and be mates with him.
My whole life is one big social game.
I don't go into anything to lose.
All my life I've lived outside my comfort zone.
Nothing like this happens to someone like me.
I'm going to be the greatest player of Big Brother in the world.
I am Big Brother, and I'll see you Monday, April 26.
The Nick Scali Easter clearance is on now. Enjoy fantastic savings across selected living, dining and bedroom furniture. The Nick Scali Easter clearance, on now.
Ned's Same Race Multi, now available on all 3 racing codes. Pump up your odds in any thoroughbred, greyhound or harness race by selecting 2 to 4 runners to finish anywhere inside the top 4. Take it to the Ned's level.
Audible is excellent for unwinding in bed with a cuppa.
Doesn't smell like a cup of tea.
Well, it's not tea. It's hard tea. What are you, the tea police?
Download the Audible app and start listening today.
Aldi's low prices just got lower with reductions on a huge range of products like cheese, bacon, pasta, eggs, this, that, those, that. No, not that. Aldi, good, different.
I mean, I'm already worried that I'm not going to have enough money for when I retire, and now they're saying that I'm going to be worse off.
Authorised by B. Dean for Industry Super Australia, Melbourne.
Bread is a part of life, so why not make life poppier, crustier, and more enjoyable, down to the very last crumb. Abbott's Bakery. Every bit better.
Okay, just keep your head down.
Yes, Paige.
Feet shoulder width. That's your best bet.
Did you say bet?
Mm-hmm. Now just grip it and rip it.
Magnificent. A 350-yard bomb. And I just smashed her favorite in the next race in Melbourne. Where'd it land?
It hasn't. 4!
You should see when I use two hands.
It's shacking easy to bet anytime, anywhere with the PointsBet app.
Welcome back. A cat has been rescued after finding itself stuck on a ledge on the 18th floor of a high-rise. Firefighters battled windy conditions as one abseiled down the Sydney Olympic Park building yesterday to save Abito. He was placed in a bag and returned to solid ground before reuniting with his relieved owners. Detectives in Sydney southwest are hunting either a confident crook or a copycat thief after a service station was robbed twice in 4 days. Both times staff members were threatened with a knife. Police are now stepping up patrols.
As a staff member cleans up at the end of his shift, a thief bowls in behind him. Threatened with a knife, the worker is then forced to hand over the day's takings.
Last night he was scared and he was thinking, like, in this kind of environment, how could he work?
The terrified victim is cornered by the counter as the thief fills a plastic bag with $1,500 and cigarettes.
These are good people working hard in our community and we're here to support them. We're very concerned about the continuing violence.
This is the second armed robbery at this Belmore Metro in 4 days. On Thursday, another employee endured an almost identical hit.
It may be the same offender. It may be a copycat.
I'm very concerned about my staff's security as well. In this case, staff is very scared.
12 months ago, the business was again held up. That victim never returned to work.
This kind of incident happening again and again.
The manager of this service station is now working to increase security by installing more advanced systems to help prevent another robbery. Police are also ramping up patrols around the area, particularly at night.
Crime never pays, so don't try again.
The hunt continues for the person or people responsible. Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
Days of volcanic eruptions have plunged the Caribbean island of St Vincent into crisis. Much of the island is now covered in ash, with thousands of people already evacuated and cruise ships called in to rescue more residents. La Soufriere burst to life on Friday after lying dormant for decades, the eruption visible from space. Scientists warn the explosions could continue for days or even weeks. It was a family feud that suddenly turned deadly. After the break, a man stabbed and killed by his mother-in-law. Was it murder or self-defence? Pepper sprayed, threatened with the electric chair. An army officer fights back following a shocking police stop. Burning rubber and lighting up the road. The Hoons on show as police watch on.
And in sport, the major concern for the Roosters ahead of their battle with the reigning premiers.
The most spectacular dancing is still to come.
Last night was unbelievable. Tonight will be better.
Last night's contestants are still here.
Great.
Tonight, champions Ada, Luke and Manu hit the dance floor.
I want to make my son proud.
5, 4, 6, 7.
5, 4, 6, 7.
And for the first time, it's a dead heat.
We have a 3-way tie.
This has never happened.
Don't miss a single moment of Dancing with the Stars All-Stars. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Those years on tour were crazy. I reckon I spent more time on the road than I ever did at home. So it's nice to finally spend some time in it. If you're like me and driving less these days, Apia's comprehensive car insurance rewards you with a drive less, pay less discount on your premiums.
Get a quote today. Call Apia on 13 50 50. BritBox is here.
I'm sorry?
Yes, more streaming telly.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. But British.
Sorry.
It's the ultimate collection of British TV. No contract, no ads, no bother. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
Make Light and Easy's new autumn menu your choice for healthy living and more free time. Light and Easy's award-winning healthy meal delivery service now has even more variety, with over 160 delicious meals, all packed full of goodness. Enjoy your choice of tasty breakfasts, healthy mouth-watering lunches, yummy dinners, and now an even bigger choice of veggie meals. Whether you want to lose weight, improve your health, or simply enjoy more free time, make Light and Easy your choice this autumn. Choose from the new autumn menu today.
At Underworks, we're experts in socks. We test our all-day socks so they stay up all day and don't fall down like some brands do. Go on, test them for yourself. We're number one down under for socks.
To show you all how to Ladbroke it. Let's Ladbroke the action! Let's Ladbroke the riders. Let's Ladbroke
Welcome back. It was the family feud that spiralled into a deadly brawl in Sydney's northwest. Today, a court heard Adam Coble and his wife had been fighting over an affair when her mother became involved, with claims she was forced to fatally stab her son-in-law in self-defence.
Adam and Robin Coble endured a 19-year relationship marred by violence, but their final argument was deadly. In January 2019, Adam confronted his wife after discovering she was having an affair with her Taekwondo instructor. His rage then turned to his mother-in-law, Kay Leonard. He took hold of Kay's hair and smashed her head into the floor. Then he stabbed Kay in the neck. His daughter called 000. "My dad is killing my mum's mum." The 60-year-old suffered 8 stab wounds before she drove the knife into Adam's chest, telling police, "I took the knife out of his hand so he couldn't do any more and I stabbed him, mate." Adam's loyal mother refuses to accept today's evidence.
He was a great horseman. He was a great upholsterer. He wrote beautiful poetry.
The officer in charge of the investigation told the court Kay Leonard took the only action she could to stop him. The court heard the couple was known to police for domestic violence since 2008, 11 years. And just a month before the fatal stabbing, Adam was charged with malicious damage and an apprehended violence order taken out against him.
It's just sad that it's turned out the way it has. Extremely sad.
The coroner will hand down his findings on Wednesday. Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
There has been a delay in NRL star Jack de Bellin's rape trial, which was set to start in Sydney today. The 30-year-old and his co-accused Callan Sinclair are charged with sexually assaulting a woman at Wollongong in December 2018. The men maintain the encounter was consensual. The judge expressed frustration at today's setback. The trial is expected to run for 3 weeks. A lawyer in the US has warned that black American drivers pulled over by traffic police need to video the exchange for their own safety. His client is suing 2 police officers for excessive force after a routine traffic stop turned ugly.
In America, if you're black and a pistol-wielding police officer says, "Get out of the car!" what do you do?
I've seen black men get killed just for stepping out of their car.
Thomas Montalvo stayed put. 2 days later, he's still shaking.
I stayed looking at focusing the front of my car because I didn't want none of their faces to be the last thing I saw.
Step out! Last December, Virginia police pulled over Lieutenant Caron Nazario, believing his car was unregistered.
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
Open the door slowly, step out! He set his phone recording.
When you're a person of color, unfortunately, it's safer to record.
Nazario's lawyer is now using the recording and police video to sue the officers,
What's going on? You're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
claiming they threatened his client with the electric chair.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out.
Before pepper spraying him.
That's f***ed up.
Virginia's governor has ordered an investigation. These cases emerge as Americans watch last year's incendiary killing of George Floyd unfold in court. The officer who pinned him is fighting murder charges.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Turns out Caron Nazario's car was registered after all.
All you have to do is listen.
In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
Queensland Police have released pictures of the terrible risks Hoon drivers took on the Gold Coast on Saturday night. Their furious lives were put in danger. Drivers not only doing donuts but also travelling at high speed and through red lights. One ute was even spotted with passengers standing on the back as it spun around. 79 infringement notices were issued and 6 cars were seized. A national inquiry has heard the gig economy is forcing Australians into life and death work without rights at half the minimum wage. But some of the companies involved have hit back, telling a Senate committee their drivers like it how it is.
Culinary convenience at a crippling cost.
A sector of the workforce that is neglected and unprotected.
Delivery workers and rideshare drivers telling a Senate inquiry they're being exploited.
I really hope you can help us with this situation.
This is life or death.
Unions say they should be considered employees and have rights. Currently they're paid per ride and under pressure. 5 delivery riders were killed in 11 weeks last year.
Those 5 families are still waiting for justice. They are destitute.
From giants Uber and Deliveroo.
We've asked drivers, do they want to be employed with fixed shifts? And resoundingly they say no.
And the core tenet of this form of work is flexibility.
We are doing everything we can to protect that because we know that's what partners want.
They argue people work casually across multiple platforms, but they're being accused of covering up that they pay a pittance.
These figures here means you're paying half the minimum rate.
This is an international battle. In the UK, a new deal has been struck following a 5-year court case. Uber forced to legally call its drivers and riders workers and pay them a wage.
So we want to work with government.
Open to change here too. Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
The Easter Show's triumphant return hailed as a global success story. Up next, this one's just for the kids, a special celebration on the show's final day. Also, the multi-million-dollar plan to transform George Street, how it will impact city transport. Rampant cheating by hundreds of students exposed in our universities.
Soon in sport, 4 in a row for the Red Hot Dragons as the Anthony Griffin revolution hits new heights.
And another chilly night on the way for Sydney, but conditions are about to turn around. The much warmer forecast soon.
It's taken a global pandemic
Back up!
to get Mrs. Brown back.
Hello? God bless you.
Brand new.
Christmas trees are like priests. You know, the balls are just for decoration.
And naughtier than ever. Brand new Mrs. Brown.
Hello?
Tonight, 9 o'clock on 7.
Ever since I've retired from basketball, I've never been busier. You say bet? There's a lot you can do in a few seconds, even with just one hand. I never miss having a bet on Friday Night Footy. Sunday football. 10 legs, same game multi. Glory, glory to Sunday. Beautiful. Oh yeah, that's the one. Good night, ladies.
It's shacking easy to bet anytime, anywhere with the PointsBet app.
Discover better buys for kids at Target with 20% off toys from these big brands, including Lego, Nerf, LOL Surprise, and more. Offer ends April 21. Conditions and exclusions apply. Find more better buys in-store and online.
Make Light and Easy's new autumn menu your choice for healthy living and more free time. With your choice of over 160 delicious meals, all packed full of goodness. Choose from the new autumn menu today. Visit lightandeasy.com.au.
make buying, renting and selling easy for 12 million Australians. Personalise your search with the #1 address in property, realestate.com.au.
Did you hear about Mikey? Had a bad accident.
Oh, no, it's no good. Isn't his wife expecting?
Yeah. But it looks like his insurance with Cbus hasn't covered.
Cbus offers super insurance options for our industry.
Climb a tower and be a princess, get shot at with arrows, wizards throwing spell packets. It's an amazing feeling. It's euphoric.
There are so many ways we can live better. Search Medibank Live Better to find yours.
Does your dandruff keep coming back? It can, unless you use anti-dandruff shampoo regularly. Try Head & Shoulders. Dandruff is caused by malassezia, a germ that repopulates without regular care. Unlike ordinary shampoo, Head & Shoulders contains OctoShield molecules that effectively remove dandruff and prevent it from coming back. For up to 100% dandruff protection, use Head & Shoulders at least 3 times a week. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
Welcome back. Checking the share market now, and the ASX 200 began the week lower, down 21 points. The Commonwealth Bank fell 41 cents and big miners eased, dragging the market down. But CSL and Telstra made gains. Tonight, the Aussie dollar is buying 76.14 US cents. A Singleton businesswoman, Sue Gilroy, has been named as the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers candidate for the Upper Hunter ahead of the May 22nd by-election.
I want to make sure we've got a representative that ensures that we get the attention, the funding and the support we need.
It follows the resignation of Nationals MP Michael Johnson last month over sexual assault allegations. There'll be delays and diversions in the CBD as work begins on a $43.5 million project to transform George Street. The upgrade involves wider footpaths, more trees and outdoor dining spaces along the light rail route from Town Hall to Central Station. The entire area will be car-free. After 12 days, there are just hours left of this year's Royal Easter Show. Organisers have declared the event a huge success, celebrating world record crowds since the start of the pandemic.
The final day of the Easter show and the kids whipped up a cracking start.
It's very good to be back here.
While it can be hard to find your feet in the competitive world of whip cracking, it didn't stop these pint-sized participants from putting on a show. And to act the part, you have to look the part.
How long have you been practicing for?
6 months.
This was one final chance for city kids to enjoy a taste of country life.
Chicken!
And everything else the show has to offer. In total, 1.8 million show bags, 2.1 million rides, 39,000 scones, 3 tonnes of Dagwood dogs, 29 tonnes of chips on sticks.
Chatting to our commercial exhibitors, and they've informed me that these are record sales for the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Despite restrictions, it's estimated around 800,000 people have come through the gates over the 12 days, compared to 900,000 in 2019. It's expected to be the biggest ticketed event in the world this year.
To think that we're going to run the largest show in the world since COVID is amazing.
Time now to pack up and start planning for 2022.
See you next year!
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Fraud, cheating and student misconduct. They're the dirty secrets rampant in our top universities, now exposed. Hundreds of cases, many going unpunished. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now Mel is here with Sport. Mel, 2 of the NRL's best set to go head-to-head.
They are, Fergo. James Tedesco and Ryan Pappenhausen will do battle as debate rages over who's the best fullback in the business. Tedesco's up next. Plus, Matt Duffy stars as the resurgent Dragons inflict Parramatta's first loss of the season. And the historic Masters win that could make Japan's golfing megastar a billionaire.
Yeah, that's not good.
Dying?
No one is dying.
This wall is not stable.
We gotta get out of here before it collapses.
Your decisions reflect on me, on my legacy.
Fires in several units.
If that thing blows, we don't know what that explosion will do.
Get my husband out of there!
New Station 19, streaming for free on 7plus.
There's a reason why Aussies buy Arnott's biscuits. And I'll tell you what, it's not just because our Scotch fingers are baked in Australia with real butter, or because our Monte Carlos are made right here with real Aussie jam, or even because our mint slices are made with real chocolate. Nah, we reckon people buy Arnott's biscuits because they're the tastiest darn bickies money can buy. There is no substitute.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wondering in the night, what were the chances we'd be sharing love before the night was through. Something in your eyes.
The Nick Scali Easter clearance is on now. Enjoy fantastic savings across selected living, dining and bedroom furniture. The Nick Scali Easter clearance, on now.
Why merely stimulate your senses when you can thrill them? Thrill your senses with Connoisseur.
I'm Sammy, I'm 36 years old and I'm a project coordinator. I was stuck on the couch. My hobbies were watching TV. I decided if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this big. As soon as I picked up my first weapon ever, I knew that this was a sport for me. Climb a tower and be a princess and get shot at with arrows, wizards throwing spell packets. It's an amazing feeling. It's euphoric.
There are so many ways we can live better. Search Medibank Live Better to find yours.
Pandora. Something about you.
Welcome back. James Tedesco and Ryan Pappenhausen go head-to-head this week as debate rages who's league's best number one. Tedesco says he doesn't care. Teammates say even asking the question is disrespectful, and the Roosters have much bigger concerns.
Roosters assistant and Storm consultant Cooper Cronk chose his side, but Sam Walker might not even need Cronk's help.
He just backs himself, so it's so good to see. You couldn't tell that he's only an 18-year-old playing 2 first-grade games.
With Freddie Lussick injured and Ben Marschke facing a ban, they don't have a clue who'll play hooker against a side boasting Harry Grant and Brandon Smith.
The contests that we've had of late have always been barbaric almost.
Tedesco versus Pappenhausen's the headline, except at the Roosters.
I'm not really focused too much on my opposite number.
I still think he's the best player in the game, without a doubt. Yeah, I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves, to be honest.
They will respect Craig Fitzgibbon if he leaves to coach the Sharks next year.
I think Fitzy's been ready for quite some time.
He's one of the best coaches I've had, and he's an assistant coach.
Anthony Griffin's already transformed the Dragons into one of those rough, tough teams you don't want to play against. 4 in a row after their 26-12 ambush over the Eels at Bankwest Stadium last night.
I don't think we're doing anything special. We're doing what we need to do. If we want to be a good football side.
With the Toothless Tigers this week, even Wayne's wearing a beaming smile. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
A relieved Daly Cherry Evans hopes his wonky winning field goal has finally kicked Manly into gear.
The effort and the result on the weekend shows that we do care, mate. We haven't thrown our season away.
A fed-up Broncos coach Kevin Walters has dumped out-of-sorts playmaker Anthony Milford.
I applaud him for putting his foot down and taking a stand for something, so I'm sure Milford will be back, definitely.
The $1 million a year Milford will play Queensland Cup alongside Carmichael Hunt. Swan star Dane Rampe could miss a month due to finger surgery. The Giants won't have Lachie Whitfield back for Saturday's 20th Sydney Derby at the SCG. He's lucky to be here at all after the pre-season training accident that lacerated his liver and caused 2 litres of internal bleeding.
To our club doctor, he said he's never seen it, and when I was in the hospital they said that they usually see these from car crashes.
But Whitfield now hopes to return in 4 weeks' time. Hideki Matsuyama is set to become one of the faces of the Tokyo Olympics after his historic Masters victory. Matsuyama clung on to win by a shot. He's the first male player from Golf Mad Japan to capture a major. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith finished in the top 10.
Mark Leishman nearly aced the 16th, but by then he was too far back. 2 bogeys in his first 3 holes left the Aussie chasing his tail. He finished 4 back in equal 5th.
If I'd have got the putter hot there late, could have made a little bit of a run.
Cam Smith's putter was also largely cold. This long bomb at 15, a rare exception. Still, he departs with a 3rd top 10 finish.
There's no reason why I can't win here. It's just everything's got to come together.
6 clear midway through the final round. Overnight leader Hideki Matsuyama started to stagger. Finding the water at 15 left a nation on edge. His bogey opened the door for Xander Schauffele, who promptly closed it on himself.
Oh, there are the ripples.
The triple bogey at 16 allowed fellow American Will Zalatoris to claim 2nd in his Augusta debut. Matsuyama bogeyed 3 of his last 4 holes, but did enough.
Japan's first Masters champion.
As the country's first male major winner, Matsuyama will be one of the faces of the Tokyo Olympics, with $1 billion earning potential.
Hopefully I'll be a pioneer in this and many other Japanese will follow.
Nick Markham, 7 News.
Fergo, there'll be so much buzz in Tokyo as a result of that, but bad luck to Mark Leishman and all the golf clubs around Australia that were looking forward to that beer.
Yeah, he is now a Japanese superstar.
He is.
Good on you, Mel. Australia's leading university watchdog has warned the education sector to be on high alert with students targeted by websites helping them to cheat. 7 News can reveal cheating is rampant, with hundreds of students at one Sydney uni caught each year.
The University of Technology, Sydney, a prized place of education, but also a place of rampant cheating.
It's far easier now for students to go online and to pay people to write their essays.
The Freedom of Information document reveals 1,024 cases of cheating and plagiarism in a single year, 63 cases of exam misconduct, 17 fraud cases, 59 students disciplined for inappropriate behaviour, totalling 1,163 cases of student misconduct.
It is kind of unfair that other people are putting in the effort, actually studying.
It ruins academic honesty.
Seen here on the back of a toilet door at Melbourne University, an ad by an agency blatantly offering to help students cheat, $70 per 250 words.
Because there is less contact time face to face, it's harder for tutors, lecturers to know whether a student's work is theirs or not.
We approached UTS for comment last Friday. They wouldn't discuss the figures, even though they've known about them for more than a month. They show that since 2014, student misconduct has more than doubled. But of the 969 cheating cases last year, just 1 student was kicked out.
UTS did confirm late today it's implemented new policies and online systems to catch students cheating. Nina Stevens, 7 News.
Now, Angie's back with the forecast. Ange, the cold snap is almost behind us.
Mark, another very chilly start tomorrow, but following that, conditions are actually looking quite summery this week. Details next.
Tonight, on the latest from 7 News, widespread destruction live to WA's devastated cyclone zone. We take you to London as more details are revealed about Prince Philip's funeral. And the pandemic changed our reality, but now it's changed our dreams too. A sleep psychologist explains. Join me tonight on the latest from 7 News.
Could we put this whole thing aside?
I'm trying to understand what else I have to do to make Christian pay.
Revenge is a killer.
Is it justice you're looking for, or is it revenge?
Anyone could be his next victim.
Oh, Matt, what's going on?
Your life's in my hands now.
Home and Away, this week at 7 on 7.
Once a year, the stars align. On and off the track at the Star Championships, the grand finals of Australian racing. where history is made and champions are celebrated. Featuring the $4 million Longines Queen Elizabeth Stakes. The Championships Day 2, Saturday, April 17th at Royal Randwick.
Celebrate Australian apples at Woolworths.
A juicy apple's what I really love to munchie.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Wonder is imagination. Wonder is play. Wonder is our wildest dreams while we're awake each day. Wonder is whatever we want it to be. Wonder is our potential set free.
Feed their wonder. Wonder, full of goodness.
Congratulations. When are you,
Excuse me?
we were... He's...
Kidding. It's just the savings I pocketed getting my health insurance from HBF.
See if you can pocket the savings with HBF. Join today.
Change always has the power to excite, to refresh, to move us. Change starts here.
No small SUV packs more features in than the Ford Puma to help you fit more into your life. And right now, your Ford dealer has a finance offer to also fit your life. Get a new Puma from just $125 a week with a deposit of only 10% and no balloon payment. So you can drive away in style with a great rate and no surprises at the end. Hurry into your Ford dealer before June 30.
After work, time for an encore. Tasmanian chips with sea salt and rosemary. That's worthy of a standing ovation. Bird's Eye.
This is not a bank ad. This is a customer ad. A price ad.
You can tell it's not a bank ad because there's no banking music.
Or complicated jargon because I'm into homely homes. Not home loans. I'd rather manage my money how I like, when I like. I'm Bryce, and I like to bank less.
Tonight's 7 News headlines. Police have opened fire in a shopping centre car park in Neutral Bay on the lower North Shore. 2 men have been arrested. No one was hurt. Prince Harry has snuck into London, evading even the paparazzi, while Prince Andrew has made a rare public appearance alongside brother Edward at a Sunday service. And the holiday town of Kalbarri on the West Australian coast is tonight a disaster zone after Cyclone Saroja swept through. Now here's Angie with Sydney's weather.
Thanks very much, Mark. The cold snap will have one final hold on our weather, with tonight's minimums to dip well below average again. This morning, we certainly felt that chill. The city's low was 9.6 degrees, a top of 20.5, but felt closer to about 16 degrees. It was a much cooler start to the day. Inland, though, just 5 degrees at Richmond. Campbelltown dipped to 3. Katoomba recorded 1 degree for the low. The cold front driving that polar blast has generally cleared now, so we will see a slow warming trend with clear skies thanks to high pressure. Tomorrow you'll see that high becomes the dominant feature over our state, with winds swinging around to the north, and that is going to help fuel much warmer temperatures going forward. To the capitals for your Tuesday, another freezing start on the way for Canberra, top of 19 though. Melbourne will see a gusty day and just some late showers developing across Hobart and Adelaide. Fairly mild for Perth, 21 degrees. Back home it is a clear day ahead, barely any cloud cover at all. So the winds persist in the snowy mountains. It will be cold, a blusty temperature range of -4 to 6 degrees. Elsewhere, those winds have settled, but we will still see plenty of lows at freezing point once again. Tops, though, mostly getting back up into the low 20s. For the metro suburbs, plenty of sunshine on the way, and after another cold morning, tops are going to be a little bit warmer. So we're heading for a top of 23 degrees at Mascot, 25 for Penrith, Katoomba heading for a top of 18. On the water tomorrow, south-southwesterly winds will persist at first, running at 15 to 20 knots. That'll give us another cooler start to the day, but then a northerly wind regime moves in during the afternoon. So very big surf for our beaches today. Tomorrow, under that northerly, they'll ease with damaging surf limited to the Hunter Coast. However, strong winds still do cover a sizable stretch of the southern coastline. For the city, it is going to be another chilly night across the CBD. Clear skies will cause all the day's heat to escape, allowing for a low of just 10 degrees. Daytime conditions are improving though, with northerly winds pushing the top back up to 24, and that is pretty close to average for this time of year. To the next 7 days, Wednesday brings a significant change. A very summery 29 degrees across the city and our west. Thursday looking pretty good too, 27 degrees all round. The only chance of a shower should be on the coast on Friday, less than a millimetre though, clearing just in time for a nice settled weekend. So after a very brief visit, winter not on the doorstep just yet, Mark.
It's trying to warm up, Angie. Thank you. That is 7 News 4 this Monday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.